In a lot of yogic traditions, the ego gets quite a bad rep. Often, the practices can focus and center around how do I dissolve the ego, transcend the ego, get past the ego. Often, it's associated with something that's bad that we need to do something with and get rid of it. In our tradition, we take quite a different approach. In particular, the goddess traditions often offer us different approaches on both our understanding of what the ego is and what to do with it. One of my favorite examples of this is the story of Murugan. Now, there's tons of amazing elements and stories for Murugan, but this particular story has to do around the time of his birth. He was born specifically to combat a certain demon. This demon, Surapadman, was a shapeshifter. He was a powerful demon that had taken over the various realms of man and God and could only be defeated by the son of Shiva and Parvati. So as Murugan was born to combat this demon, he had a few days after birth to get ready for the battle. And one of those days, his mother, Parvati, hands him a spear, his veil, the Shakti itself, to go and fight this battle with the demon Surapadman. And so Murugan goes out. He fights the demon. For 6 days, he's battling, and every day throughout the day, Surapadman is changing shape. He's becoming an elephant, he's becoming a tiger, he's shifting to this, to that, and Murugan constantly has to shift and move and adapt to the shape-shifting Surapadman. But eventually, Surapadman realizes he's going to be defeated. So in a final attempt to disappear and escape, he becomes a giant mango tree, hoping to disguise himself. Murugan sees through this, of course, though, but he's sitting there with his spear, can't really poke a tree and split the tree, but because this is the Shakti itself, he takes his spear, he throws it at the tree, it splits the tree in two. And of those two halves of the tree, two animals are formed, the peacock and the rooster. Murugan decides, instead of destroying Surapadman, he actually takes the peacock and makes it his vehicle. It's what he rides into battle. The rooster he puts on his battle flag, right? That he's holding on his way through his various battles. Now, what does all of this mean, ultimately? Well, one, it doesn't matter if you identify as a man or a woman. We are all the characters in all these stories anyway, so even though it's a male character, Murugan, it doesn't matter male or female. But the idea here is that he's combating this experience of life. We get lost in these solid ideas of things. But life isn't solid like that. It's constantly shifting and moving. We have to adapt with it. If we get caught up in life is supposed to show up this way, we're bound to break against that, to suffer. So we adapt, we move. We call this vidya. Instead of getting caught up in an absolute idea of something, we're in the moment-to-moment intimacy of knowing what is. Now, ultimately though, Murugan doesn't destroy Surapadman. When he splits the tree in two, this is the breaking of the veil. This is moving to that space of non-duality. He's shifting away from things being separated, even though he's separating the tree, and realizing that it's all one. Once he does that, once he realizes the interconnectivity and oneness of all things, we have the peacock and the rooster. What do they represent? Well, the peacock is, as we can imagine, it's the bright colored bird. It's like, hey, look at me. It represents the ego. He doesn't destroy the ego, he rides the ego. Now, what's important here, of course, though, is that he's not just riding his ego, he's got to understand who he is first. And I don't mean like the depths of his soul and his purpose in life and what he's here to do, although that's all fine. I mean who he is, who you are, who I am, underneath all the masks, all the identities, underneath the peacock itself, which is the traditions will explain is supreme consciousness. Whether you call it Shiva, whether you call it Shakti, Brahman, whatever it may be, the absolute that is consciousness itself is that which we are. When we're connected and established in that, now we can ride the peacock. The rooster, of course, is the enthusiasm for life itself. This isn't the stoic yogi. This isn't the one that is transcended, their ego. They're beyond all feelings. They don't get excited about anything. They're very sattvic, pure and calm. The rooster, if you've been around roosters much, they're quite enthusiastic. They got lots of their ladies around. They like to coo often, whether it's in the morning, afternoon, evening. I grew up in a generation where we had lots of cartoons with roosters, and it was always the roosters that were signaling the dawn and waking up in the morning. But I've lived in Thailand and Bali long enough to know that roosters crow all day and night anyways. They're always ready to meet the day. They're enthusiastic about it. And that's the point too. When we're anchored in ourself, when we're anchored in connectivity, connection, now we can come back into the world as our unique identity, as the Ashton. And we can bring the enthusiasm of that into life. It's not about overcoming the ego. It's not about transcending it, dissolving it, getting rid of it, and being just calm at all times, but genuinely moving into life. But of course, has to be anchored in that recognition of the self. Otherwise, that's what we're doing anyways. I think I'm an Ashton. I think I'm the actual Peacock. And so I cause suffering for myself and others. But if we know and we're grounded in that connection with self, now we're free to express that self. And because we know, if we ever come into the interactions where there could be problems, am I informing it from that place of connection, or am I informing it from the place of limited identity of the peacock itself? So long as we're riding the peacock, not identifying with it, then we're free to enthusiastically bring it into the world. If you'd like to learn more stories like this, you can join a number of our different trainings, yoga teacher trainings, meditation teacher trainings, and elemental courses that explore these ideas and themes even further, as well as join classes, either online or in person here in Bali at Alchemy Yoga Center. Hope to see you on the mat sometime.